welcome to Radio Sensation. I'm your host, Dan. And in this episode, I'm going to be looking at a fanzine, a series of fanzines put out by Justin Marriott. You might know Justin's name from the long-running fanzine he's been putting out called the Paperback Fanatic. Just recently, February 2023, he put out issue 46 of that fanzine. The first 24 issues of Paperback Fanatic were actually printed up. They had press runs, and they're out of print now, and some of them can be a little hard to track down. But the later issues are all print on demand. So whether you live in England, which is where Justin is based out of, or whether you're here in the U.S. or I imagine Australia or wherever, you can just get them printed up on demand wherever you're at, and they're not going to run out of print. They'll be available. Now, I'm going to just guess as to why Justin took it upon himself to put out. He's put out several other things besides the Paperback Fanatic. Now, the Paperback Fanatic usually it does have a lot of reviews, but they usually also he's also tried to do feature articles for each of them about different publishers or a different subsection of what a publisher was doing. And those take a lot of research and time, and a lot of times he tries to get as many scans of that publisher's output as he can, and tracking down good scans of all these obscure titles. That all takes a lot of time and research and in some cases money. And so I think that probably these titles that he's done here are done because it's a different format, so that's probably fun to play around with that. And also, they are all reviews. There's a little sidebar here and there, but really not much, not much to it at all. A couple paragraphs at the most, and then just reviews. And they're in alphabetical order. There were 3 of these. I seem to have misplaced the science fiction issue, but this is the fantasy issue, and I've also got the horror issue here. And this is Paperback Fantastic, and this is Paperback Fantastic Horror Volume 3. So Paperback Fantastic Fantasy Volume 2. So I don't know if there's going to be more of these or not. I really haven't heard anything about it yet. He's been doing a lot of this, another fanzine he does called the Battling Britain, and Battling Brighton, rather. I think that's what it is. Now I can't remember. It's all about British war comics and paperbacks and things like that, having to do with the UK fighting men in pop culture. Military stuff is my least favorite of all the types of paperbacks and comics and stuff like that. So I haven't been paying attention to them. Sorry if I'm fumbling over those exactly. But here, I'm going to let you know, I can highly recommend the Paperback Fanatic. And I loved these 3 issues in this special. And I hope that this continues. They like I said, they've come out within the last year, but it was the end of last year, I guess this was. Don't really remember for sure now, but it hasn't been that long. But hopefully we're about due for some more. Like I said, they've got a different layout. I don't see very many publications in this format, and I like it. Here it lists all the books. And they're a mix of paperback books and comic books. And here's all those little sidebars. Fantastic factoids, they're calling them. And it lists where each of those are. It's just mostly reviews. And he gives them swords. Look, this book got 4 swords. Like I say, that it's alphabetical by the title of the book. And then they have the covers of these books. And I think it's great. I think this is great. I love this format. I love seeing these now because it's a British publication. There are some instances where the cover of the book is not the cover I'm familiar with because it's a British cover and not the American cover. Of course, a lot of these are things that probably didn't come out in Britain, so they do have the American cover in here. But it's definitely really great. And, all the people who are writing the reviews are thoughtful about it. No one's dashing off some half-baked thing like you might read online or in some other fanzines. These are thoughtful reviews. There it is, Savage Sword of Conan, the black and white Marvel comic. Casca is this thing where this guy is he's the eternal warrior. Is that what it's called? Something like that. He's lived in all these different bodies throughout time. Every time he's been cursed to be a warrior and have a life of battle throughout eternity. And so this one has more of a kind of fantasy. I mean, the whole setup is fantasy, but luckily they don't do all of them. Yeah. H. Rider Haggard. Article on those. Some more Savage Sword of Conan. The Barry Windsor Smith illustrated Red Nails. A lot of Conan in this, which makes sense to me. That's definitely who I think of when I think of fantasy. I think of sword and sorcery, although that's not the only kind in here. That is the main. Here's a look at Michael Moorcock books. Those are not the covers I'm familiar with for these books, but they're pretty cool. Some of I'm not sure if I'll how much of this stuff I'd actually try and track down and read, but there is a lot of good stuff covered here. Fritz Lieber, Lyford and the Grey Mouser. Fantastic stories. So there's a covering that's one of the series of an anthology. Oh, I wish I still had my copy of that. I love that book. I don't have it anymore though. But they cover the Carl Edward Wagner books, and I used to have that series, and I don't know what happened to it. That's a good series of books. Reissuing the different Robert E. Howard titles. Some more comics. Nemesis. I used to really like Nemesis. Lots of cool artwork. And lots of good reviews. If you're looking for what to read next, I think you couldn't do much better than taking a stroll through this. And then there's the horror, and it's the same deal. Paperbacks, comics. Once again, really cool reproductions of artwork and stuff. Books of Blood. The original 3 and the 3 follow-ups. Great cover there. Great cover. never seen that cover. Very good. The Degenerates. Little Corbin. Some Kirby there. Dogs. Draco the Dragon Man. Now they're talking about British, American reprints of British horror books. Very cool. Here's one of their little Fantastic Focus. They're calling this one. A very quick little look at Frankenstein. That's it. That's those 2 pages there. Here's this. There's that. I didn't know this. The Island of Dr. Moreau. The 70s movie version with Michael York got a adaptation, screenplay adaptation by Joseph Silva. It's not. I don't know. The original book is so good. Guy Smith, The Killer Crabs. The Nests. I recently found my original copy of that. It's just been reissued like 2 years ago, so it was a really hard to find collector's item, I'm told. And now it's readily available again. Razorback. Who knew? Who knew that that movie was a book first? So, yeah, that gives you an idea. The Slime Beast. That's looks very much like the She Creature. Creature of Destruction. Some more Clive Barker covers. Tomb of Dracula, Dennis Wheatley. I read a lot of those Dennis Wheatley books when they were reissued in the 90s, early 2000s maybe they were reissued. They were okay. You know, they're so tame compared to anything I had read since they originally came out. But Twisted Tales. The Unholy Smile. Cool. Vampirella. All right. Anyway, there's some cool fanzines. You really ought to check them out if you get a chance. A lot of different reviewers doing them. So, you know, it's a good overview of these genres. Nice reviews to pick and choose from. Find some new reading material.